Most people think happiness is something that happens after life gets better. You finish the project, you get the promotion, someone finally texts you back, your favorite football team wins instead of inventing a new way to disappoint you. Then you'll feel happy. The weird part is that your brain doesn't actually wait for reality. It mostly reacts to signals. Think about horror movies. You're sitting on a perfectly safe couch, holding a bowl of chips, yet your heart starts racing because someone in a basement decided to investigate a strange noise instead of leaving like a normal person. Your brain doesn't care that you're safe. It believes the signals. The same thing happens in everyday life. You wake up tired, read one annoying email, remember that awkward thing you said 3 years ago, and suddenly your brain concludes, clearly today is a disaster. Nothing catastrophic happened. Your operating system just loaded the wrong file. Here's the good news. If your brain can accidentally make you feel worse in seconds, it can also make you feel better in seconds. Not because you're pretending everything is amazing, not because you're forcing yourself to think positive, but because your brain constantly updates its emotional state using tiny pieces of information. The trick is learning which information it actually listens to. And that's what these brain tricks do. They aren't habits you need to build for 6 months before seeing results. They're more like keyboard shortcuts for your nervous system. The first one sounds ridiculously simple, which is exactly why almost nobody does it. Imagine you're sitting at your desk working, or at least pretending to work while checking whether your phone has magically become interesting again. Your shoulders slowly climb toward your ears, your jaw tightens, your forehead wrinkles, your breathing becomes tiny. Without realizing it, you've accidentally recreated the posture of someone preparing to fight a bear. Except the bear is an Excel spreadsheet. Your brain notices this. It thinks, interesting, our muscles are tense, breathing is shallow, posture is defensive. Something dangerous must be happening. So it starts producing more stress. Congratulations! You just convinced your own brain that your inbox is a predator. Now try something different. Drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw. Take one slow breath in through your nose. Exhale longer than you inhaled. That's it. Seriously, it feels almost disappointingly easy. But this works because your brain isn't only sending commands to your body is constantly sending reports back. Scientists call this interoception. The brain continuously reading signals from inside the body to estimate what's happening. Long, slow exhales activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for calming you down after stress. Your brain interprets that as evidence. If breathing is slow, maybe we're actually okay. It's a little like driving a car. Normally, you assume the dashboard tells you what's happening in the engine. But imagine the dashboard could also influence the engine. Lower one gauge, and suddenly the engine starts relaxing too. Your body works surprisingly close to that. Professional athletes use controlled breathing before penalties. Military personnel train breathing under pressure. Even surgeons often regulate breathing before difficult procedures. Not because breathing magically solves problems, because it changes the state of the person solving them. Huge difference. Brain trick number 2 is my favorite because it completely breaks emotional spirals. Here's what usually happens. Something annoying happens. Your coffee spills, someone ignores your message, you make a small mistake at work, your brain immediately starts making documentaries. This always happens. I'm so stupid. Why can't anything go right? Within 30 seconds, you've turned one bad moment into an entire Netflix series. Episode 1, The Coffee Incident. Episode 2, Every Mistake Since Kindergarten. Episode 3, The Collapse of Civilization. The problem isn't the original event. It's that your brain loves completing stories. Humans hate unfinished patterns. That's why cliffhangers work. That's why songs that stop halfway through drive people insane. Your brain wants closure. So when something bad happens, it starts filling in the blanks, usually with fiction. Here's the trick. Interrupt the story before it grows. Ask yourself one question. What are the actual facts? Not your interpretation, not your prediction, just observable facts. The coffee spilled. The email hasn't been answered. You forgot one meeting. That's it. Notice how much smaller reality becomes. It's almost boring. Because facts are usually tiny. Stories are enormous. Imagine watching a football match. One player misses a pass. The commentator says, "Interesting mistake." Now imagine another commentator screaming, "This single pass proves the entire club is finished forever." One of those people probably gets fewer invitations to parties. Your brain often behaves like the second commentator. It turns isolated events into identity. One awkward conversation becomes, I'm socially awkward. One bad workout becomes, I'm getting weak. One rejection becomes, nobody likes me. Slow down. Separate facts from stories. Your emotional brain writes headlines. Your rational brain edits the article. The moment you force yourself to identify only the facts, you interrupt the emotional spiral before it gains momentum. You don't need to win an argument with your brain. You just need to stop letting it publish fiction as breaking news. Now here's where things get even stranger. The next trick can actually make your brain release more feel-good chemicals using something you already do dozens of times every single day. And once you realize why it works, you'll start catching opportunities for it everywhere. Your brain has a strange habit. It pays far more attention to what's missing than to what's already there. Which sounds useful if you're trying to survive in the wild. It's less useful when you're sitting in a perfectly comfortable house thinking, yeah, but you finally buy the phone you wanted. 3 days later, it's just your phone. You finish a huge project, and by Monday, you're worried about the next one. You get a compliment. Your brain says, nice. Anyway, here's one awkward thing you said in 2019. It's like owning a smoke detector that also goes off every time someone makes toast. Technically, it's doing its job. Just aggressively. Psychologists call part of this the negativity bias. Your brain naturally gives more weight to potential threats than positive experiences because, historically, missing a tiger was a bigger problem than missing a beautiful sunset. Unfortunately, your brain doesn't know the difference between a tiger and an unread Slack notification. Here's the trick. Every time something slightly good happens, pause for about 15 seconds, not 5. Not half a second while scrolling to the next video. 15. Someone holds the door. Your coffee tastes surprisingly good. The weather is better than expected. You finish a task. Your dog looks at you like you've personally invented food. Whatever it is, stay with it. Your brain needs time to register positive experiences. Negative experiences don't seem to have this problem. Those move into your head like they signed a year-long lease. Positive ones often knock politely and leave because nobody answered. Think of your brain like wet concrete. Negative experiences throw bowling balls into it. Positive experiences toss ping pong balls. Unless you leave the ping pong ball there long enough for the concrete to harden around it. Neuroscientist Rick Hansen describes this idea as helping positive experiences become more deeply encoded instead of immediately disappearing. In other words, don't just experience good moments. Let your brain actually notice them. The funny thing is, you'll probably feel silly the first time you do this, standing there thinking, wow, this sandwich is actually incredible. But your brain doesn't care whether the positive experience is dramatic. It cares whether you paid attention. Now here's brain trick number 4. This one feels almost like cheating. Have you ever noticed it's incredibly difficult to stay in a terrible mood while you're genuinely curious? Not distracted. Curious, those are different. Scrolling social media is distraction. Curiosity is asking, I wonder why that happened. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, version 1. This is unbelievable. My entire day is ruined. Version 2. I wonder what's actually causing this. Same traffic, different brain state. Curiosity activates exploration. Anxiety prepares for danger. Your brain struggles to run both programs at full speed. Kids accidentally use this trick all the time. Everything fascinates them. Why is the sky blue? Why do cats purr? Why is toast different from bread? Adults replace curiosity with certainty. We already know. No, we don't. Not really. The next time you catch yourself spiraling, ask one genuinely curious question. Why did that comment bother me so much? Why do I always assume the worst first? What's another explanation? Your brain immediately shifts from defending itself to investigating. That's a completely different mental mode. You're no longer trapped inside the emotion. You're examining it. It's like stepping out of a football match and watching it from the stands instead of being tackled every 30 seconds. And finally, the 5th trick. The one most people completely overlook. People think emotions work like weather. You wake up. You see what mood arrived. Then you spend the rest of the day living inside it. But moods are much closer to playlists. They're constantly changing based on what you feed them. Your attention is the DJ. Every minute you're telling your brain what's important. Another embarrassing memory? Play it again. Another comparison with someone richer, smarter, or better looking? Add it to the queue. One small win? Skip. One funny interaction? Skip. One beautiful sunset? Skip. Then people wonder why their emotional playlist sounds depressing. Here's the switch. Whenever you notice yourself stuck in a bad mood, don't ask, how do I become happy? Ask, what am I rehearsing? Because that's what your attention is doing. Rehearsal. Every thought you repeat becomes easier to think again. Your brain loves efficiency. It builds shortcuts. That's great if you're practicing guitar. Less great if you're practicing self-criticism. The amazing part is that this works both ways. Spend 15 seconds noticing your breathing. Your brain updates. Spend 15 seconds separating facts from stories. Your brain updates. Spend 15 seconds absorbing something positive. Your brain updates. Spend 15 seconds becoming curious instead of reactive. Your brain updates. Spend 15 seconds redirecting your attention towards something worth rehearsing. Your brain updates. None of these tricks solve your problems. They're not supposed to. If your car has a flat tire, smiling at it isn't a repair strategy. But driving with the handbrake on isn't one either. These tricks simply remove unnecessary mental friction so your brain stops making difficult days even harder, because happiness isn't usually hiding behind some massive life change. More often, it's buried underneath tiny mental habits your brain has been running on autopilot. The best part? You don't need more discipline. You don't need a morning routine that starts at 4:17 a.m. You don't need to meditate on top of a mountain while an eagle circles dramatically overhead. You just need 15 seconds. Your brain is already changing all day long. The only question is whether you're letting it change by accident or by design.